Hi guys, just gonna go over some U1A8 stuff. A little bit tricky, I don't know. Talk about ratios and that sort of thing. So what I've done is I have cut and pasted. Sorry, let me get a pen here. Cut and pasted the actual note from the class, so it's a little bit blurry, but it's the note from the class that the U1A1 content, A8, sorry, content. So this is U1A8, and we're talking about ratios and that sort of thing. So the first one here, this question here is asking. It says that 132 students out of 880 are registered for something. What percent of students is that? That's a pretty easy one, right? Like if you got 132 out of 880 on a test, what percent you have? And you throw that in the calculator, 132 divided by 880, and you can put it lowest terms if you want, but just use your calculator, and you're going to get 0.15, which is the answer. That's 132 over 880 as a ratio of 1. Which we use in probability sometimes, but not as a percent. So if you want to change this to percent, you times that by 100. Percent per 100 cent, like per cent, Latin 100, per, meaning per, I don't know. Anyway, 15 is the answer, 15%. Okay. Next up, if you have 25% of a population of 132 students and you want to figure out 25% are female, how many students are female? A lot of people want to divide in this situation. You want to be careful here. I think the reason is the percent sign and the divide sign are closely related. If you tilt your head one way or another, you can turn one into the other. But what happens is whenever you have a percent, 98% of the time, I'm making that up, but almost every time you have a percent question like this, you're going to multiply. So 132 times 25%. So you can either go 25%, throw that in the calculator, or times 25 over 100, or times 0.25, probably the easiest way to do it. And then you get 33 in this case. Okay. Anytime there's this is a whole number. If you don't get a whole number, we're talking about people or something like that. Let's say the answer turns out to be 31.646. Don't give me an answer like that. There's not 31.646 people. That's a weird thing. Nobody wants to see this. So you want to round that, and you want to round that properly. Okay. Sometimes you always round up. Sometimes you round properly, right? This is, in this case, this would be 32. But depending on the question itself, you want to round. And then you get to C here. This is a good one here. It says that normally 40% of the teams are in co-ed division, and there are 6 co-ed teams. So how many teams are there in total? So this is all about ratios, and this is the equal sign, and you're going to have ratios or fractions and set them equal to each other. So if you have 40% of the people, normally that's 40 out of 100 are here. So what you have here is co-ed. In both cases, you have co-ed over total. And you set that up under normal circumstances, it's 40%, so it's 40 out of 100. In this case, I have a certain amount of teams, and 6 of them are co-ed, and the question is, how many teams do I have? So I don't know the answer to that down here. And instead of putting a question mark down there, what we do is we use the letter x as our basic variable, and we solve for x. And to do that, what you're going to do is a little cross multiplication. So when you have an equal sign with a fraction here, you can move anything you want from one side of the equal sign to the other, as long as you change its location relative to the fraction. So what I'm saying is, if you have a 6 up here and you want to move it across the equal sign for some reason, it would come across the equal sign and end up down here. So you would have 6 and then 100 times 6 here. Okay, and if you have an x up here, you want to bring it up here, you just take it and you move it up here. So what ends up happening is, if you want to isolate for x, you need it by itself and on top. Well, it's on the bottom and not by itself. So to get it on the top, what you're going to do is you're going to bring it right across here. And when you do that, that's fine, but you have a 40 here, you want to get rid of that, and you just kind of swap that out. So the 40 goes down, the x goes up, the 6 stays. The 100's okay, right? The 100's down here, but I don't want the 100, I want the x by itself, so I have to get rid of this 100. I bring it across, and it goes up, okay? And to show how that's true, if you just play around with these fractions here, 1/2 and 3/6, okay? So let's play around with this. If I have 1/2 over 3/6, and I take this 2 and I bring it across, now I have 1 is equal to 3 times 2 over 6. 3 times 2 over 6 is 6 over 6, which is 1. Okay, and you can do that all day long. You can go here and you can say, okay, fine, let me take this 3, bring it down here. Well, if I bring the 3 down here, that leaves a 1 up here, and I have 1 over 6 is equal to 1 over 6. Okay, so you can play around with that all you want. And then you get to this point here, and there are other ways to do it. I just like to do it that way. I think it's the easiest way to do it. You can also flip the fractions. There's nothing wrong with that. If you flip one side, you can flip the other side. So if 6 over x is equal to 40 over 100, then x over 6 is equal to 100 over 40. And then to isolate for this, you just bring that across and you end up with x is equal to 100 times 6 over 40. But you notice that's the same as this. Okay, it's the exact same thing. The fact that the x is on the right side or the left side of the equal sign doesn't matter. Okay, and then you solve for x, put this in the calculator, 100 times 6, divide by 40 is 15, or do it in your head. Okay, keep going with this sort of thing. Change these, express each as a decimal as a percent. Okay, so this is really easy. What you're going to do is multiply by 100 or move the decimal 1, 2 spots. So this one's easier. 1, 2, that's 12%. Here, you move it over 1, 2, and if there's a blank, you put a 0. So that's 60%. Okay. 2/5, you throw that in the calculator and you get 0.4, which is great. As a decimal, but not as a percent, move that over twice, 1, 2, or multiply by 100 to get 40%. Here, 1.5, and you go 1, 2, it's 150, 150%, which in a lot of cases might not make sense, but you can have a percent bigger than 100. For example, if I have a population of 100,000 people, and after a while it's 150,000 people, and you say, what is the new population relative to the old population? Well, it's 150% of what it was before. So 150,000 divided by 100,000 gives you 1.5, which as a percent is 150%. Okay. Here, that would just be, you could divide that out and you get 3 and 300%. Want to go the other way around, you move the decimal this way, like this, 1.1. Okay. Move the decimal 2 to the left, 0.432, or take each number and divide by 100. So you can use your calculator for that, that's fine. Just be careful with this sort of thing. You're going to move this 1, 2, and again, if you have a blank, you're going to put a 0 there. The decimal ended up here, so this will be 0.001. Fraction lowest terms, what you're going to do with the fraction lowest terms, that's an easy one. Let's try this one. 46 divided by 100. You look at it and you say, is there something that pops in my head that I can divide by on each side? Well, they're even, so let's divide by 2. And now I have 23 over 50. And is there anything that goes into 23 and 50? You can go through it. No, 23 is a prime number, so you're done. Okay. 30. Look at something like 39 over 100. I think nothing works here because the factors of 39 are 1, 39, 3, 13, and that's it. And none of those go evenly to 100, so you're just done. So play around with that. You guys have played around with fractions before. Here, what you're going to do is multiply. So you go 50 times 15%, or times 0.15, or times 15 over 100. That might be the easiest way to do it. 50 times 15 divided by 100 equals. Okay, don't hit it equals till the end. Determine the number of each statement. 25% of a number is 5. 8% of a number is 10. So this is getting back to what we had before, 8% of a number. So 8% of a number is 10. So usually you have, so it would be x. So you can do it this way. X times 0.08 is equal to 10. And that's x times that is equal to 10. So what you'll do here is, you can ignore that, is take this here, and to isolate for x or solve for x, what you'll do is you'll divide each side by 0.08 and bring that down here. So you divide each side by 0.08, and then these cancel out. And then you have 10 divided by 0.08 to solve for that. Okay, that's a little bit trickier. And let's keep going. Okay, so more ratio stuff here. Proportions. Proportion is an equation with a ratio on each side. So that's kind of what I did earlier with the co-ed sports. I think it's co-ed sports. A, B is equal to C, D. And you can also write that like this. It's the exact same thing. So if you do find ratios like this, and you can find this, one place you see it is on fertilizer bags. They talk about the different chemicals involved in the makeup. You can look at, and this is a little tricky to deal with, and what you can just do is change them to fractions. So for example, if I have something like this, 1 to 5 is equal to, I don't know, x to 10, okay? And you look at that and go, I don't know what's up with that. That's the same as saying 1/5 is equal to x over 10, okay? And then you can solve for that. X is over here, bring the 10 up across, and you get 10 times 1 over 5 is equal to x. X is 2, okay? So they're equivalent fractions, really. The ratios are treated like that. So let's take a look at this and say, are these things the same? Well, one thing to do is put this in a calculator, check what it is as decimal, put this in a calculator, check what that is as decimal. Another thing is to cross multiply. So then you have 4 times 15 is equal to 12 times 5. And you're saying 4 times 15 is 60, is equal to 60, and that is true, so you're good. Okay, so that's kind of a little proof here. Here you want to solve for B, so I've done this a couple times now. When B is on the bottom, what you'll do is, like I said, the easiest way to do that is just to bring that up across and bring this guy back down. So swap these out. So 8 is equal to, and the 32 goes where the B is, and the B goes where the 32 is, and you still have the 44 there. So I'll do this in 2 steps. And the next step is to get rid of the 44. You bring that up top. So it's 8 times 44 is equal to B. 8 times 44 divided by 32 is equal to B. And then you put that in calculator. Okay, and what they've done here a little bit differently, they've cross-multiplied to get 8 times 44 is equal to 32B. But then you notice what happens is you end up doing the same thing anyway. You find out what this answer is, then you divide by 32 to get B. Okay, so either way, it's the exact same thing. If this way is easier for you, then stick with that way. And we'll keep going. That's it. Okay, that's the video from the other day. And I think we've done the whole thing. So this is a difficult little thing. Don't get tricked up by this. A lot of people, this sort of thing comes kind of natural to them, and they pick it up quickly. If not, take your time with this. This is by far the hardest thing we've done so far. So this is section 1.8 or U1A8. And this is the last section of the unit. Unit 1A9 is the review section. So take your time with this. I know you flew through the earlier stuff, and you might think that this is supposed to be as easy as what we did in U1A1 and the earlier stuff, but it's not. It's much more difficult. Maybe spend a day or two on this and try some of the homework, and give me an email. Send me an email if you have any questions. And that's it. Take care. Have a nice day.